He was over 50 and had never even been in a relationship, yet out of nowhere, he suddenly had a 5-year-old son. Just as he stood there, utterly baffled, 2 caregivers dumped the child at his feet and walked away without so much as a backward glance. Now, it was just the 2 of them, standing at the doorstep, completely lost. What on earth was going on? Seeing the boy shivering, his nose running from the cold, Luka had no choice but to bring him inside. But there was one big problem: Luka was Czech, and the boy was Soviet. They didn't speak the same language, making communication impossible. With no other option, Luka decided to take action himself. He opened the boy's suitcase, rummaged through it, and found a pair of slippers to put on his feet. Still, the boy stubbornly ignored the old man. From the moment he walked in, he had been crying non-stop. No matter what Luka tried to distract him, the child remained silent, gazing out the window as if convinced his mother would come back for him. Luka wasn't about to coddle him. He dragged over a chair and let the boy stand on it so he could stare out the window all he wanted. Who could have guessed that these two, so at odds from the start, would one day become each other's salvation? Luka had once been a cellist in a symphony orchestra, but his younger brother had secretly immigrated to the West, a forbidden act in those days. As a result, Luka was blacklisted and expelled from the orchestra. Now, he made a living playing at funerals. Despite being 55 and never married, Luka had a notorious reputation as a womanizer. Even during funeral performances, he couldn't keep his hands to himself. But survival came first. He hustled from one gig to another, sometimes making extra cash by repairing gravestones. He even sweet-talked elderly women into paying 5 crowns just to add a single letter to an inscription. Yet, even with all these side hustles, he barely made enough to scrape by. His brother never sent a dime home after leaving, and Luka still had an aging mother to care for. Just as he was at his wit's end, a friend approached him with a money-making opportunity. A Soviet woman wanted to immigrate to Czechoslovakia and needed a Czech man for a fake marriage. If Luka agreed, they could divorce after 6 months. The woman would gain Czech citizenship, and Luka would walk away with 40,000 crowns. At first, Luka refused. He had no interest in marriage, let alone marrying a Soviet woman. But poverty didn't leave him with many choices. After much hesitation, he finally agreed to his friend's proposition.